And we are live, ladies. Thank you all for joining us tonight. My name is Leslie Neely. I'm the owner of I Breathe Melody, which is a vocal production company plus whatever you want to add to the end of it. And tonight I have pulled these amazing BGV chameleons together. I've named them that, so if anybody else calls them that after that, they have to send me tithes. Thank you, praise the Lord. And I chose these ladies because I've worked with them at some point, and they are the epitome of what a background vocalist is. A couple of them, of all of them, except for Kisha, because she's gonna say she not, so I'm gonna just put that out there, are artists and songwriters in their own right. So the fact that they know how to be positioned as artists and be positioned as solid, working, first call BGVs. Let me say it again. Solid, working, first call BGVs says a lot for their vocal ability, and I respect each of them in that capacity. So for those of you who don't know them, we are going to start. I'm going to introduce them. We have the incomparable Brittney Wright, who, although she was not born here, she belongs here. We claim her here in Baltimore, and she's an artist and she has amazing music. She's a songwriter. She is also one of my Soulful Symphony sisters. And I'm honored to be in the same section as she, because you know altos rock. And she's here with us tonight. She's going to share some of her knowledge. And next we have Miss Candace Potts. I call her Pants. I've been knowing her for so long, since she was a teenager. Amazing vocalist. A lot of you have become familiar with Candace because of her first soprano and all this stuff. But there's an alto in this baby that cannot be denied. She is the ultimate alto. Don't sleep, okay? She is also one of my Soulful Symphony sisters. And I'm honored to be in the same section with her, Altos Rock. And I'm honored that she's here today. Let me get to Kisha. A lot of y'all don't know Kisha, because Kisha like to stay all the way somewhere else. But listen, I have not met an alto tenor like Kisha Durant. And you can't tell the difference. She thickens up wherever she is placed. She is my longtime Purpose family who is here tonight, Purpose Forever. Yeah. And I'm honored to have her tonight. And last but definitely not least, my big little sister, Joy Lucas, who is my twin voice. She's my twin voice. If you ever see us at a microphone together, it's a wrap.
Yeah.
It's a I have deemed us one voice because when we get together, I am the flat in the note and Joy is the sharp in the note. And when we come together, it makes one solid note. And I'm going to share some of the things that we do when we're in the studio together that make people say, hold up. Is it only one person singing in there? We got this. Go ahead. Push play. Push play. We got that. So we're going to share some tips for you tonight. The ladies are muted. Most of them are muted because we don't want to have any feedback, but they will unmute and jump in at any time. So let's get to talking. Each of you, if you can just give a small snapshot of your years of experience at being a background vocalist and kind of what was your introduction to that lane. Let's start with Brittney.
mute. Hey guys. My introduction to background singing, I think, is much like everybody else, starting in church and singing with different groups and stuff. I kind of trained in like high school singing with a jazz art ensemble, so that kind of helped to kind of train our ears at a young age to kind of hear different types of chords. And I'm talking about from 5th grade to 12th grade. I went to that high school where we kind of studied that. And then I came to college and met Anthony Brown and at the time Answered Prayers. And that's kind of how I got my start singing in BGVs in the area.
Okay.
And it just kind of snowballed from there.
Wow. Okay. Candace?
Yes. Hi, everybody. So mine started just like Brittney said in church, being on the youth choir first, learning how to do blending and things like that in the youth choir. And then it was really perfected when I got into high school at Baltimore School for the Arts. I was able to learn how to blend better with small ensemble chamber chorus, which was one of those smaller ensembles. You were able to, although it's a little different when it comes to gospel, being able to hear voices, next to you and things like that was perfected for me in high school. Then my very first group was actually Chris Lightfoot and Call for Christ was my very first.
Are you serious?
My very first in high school. I was in high school.
I have a question for you. Okay, so I sang on one of his recordings at this small church in Woodlawn.
Mm-hmm.
Did you sing that night?
I don't think so.
Okay. Because I was like, I would have remembered if I saw you there. Okay.
Yeah, I was young. Like I want to say I was 15.
Okay.
Yeah. So then, when I got to college, it was perfected even more when I started singing with Dancing Whitley and Mosaic Sound. That's when it really was like, oh, okay, this is totally different. It's a difference from classical blend and gospel blend.
Right.
So that's when it was really, I was like, oh, this is what it is. So that's when it really kicked off. And then from there, it just, kept going, soaring.
Okay. Miss Kisha.
Hey, everybody. So it started basically at first actually Pentecostal Holiness Church, Mother Neal.
What? That's where you went. Wow.
Yeah, I grew up in the church. And I sang on the children's choir, but my mom said I used to harmonize to everything. I think it used to annoy the crap out of her. And the funny thing, I'm dealing with that with my 6-year-old.
Wow. Okay.
I didn't know it to be so annoying.
So as stories come up, I'm going to share them. Okay. Funny story. We sang, me, Kisha, I want to say his name was Bill. And what was the tall girl name?
Johnette.
We sang background for Kim.
Jonathan too.
I don't remember her being there. I don't know. We sang for Kim Burrell, and I think this is the same night. I might be mixing them up, but whatever. We go to dinner down at Moe's, the one that was on Albemarle Street, right? And we go upstairs, we sit at the table. I kid you not. Kisha sang the whole Kim Burrell album sitting at this table. The whole time we was at dinner, she never stopped singing. And we was harmonizing with it and everything. Like it was crazy. That's the first memory I really have of you. Was singing.
Wow. Yeah, I had it pretty bad. Then I think Mother Neal passed away and we end up going to First Apostolic. And I got on a choir, but the churchy choir. Like, yeah. Oh my God. I thought that was the best thing ever. So Bill asked me, I think I was the youngest one on the praise team at that point. I had to be about 15. And he told me, he put me on the praise team, but that singing wasn't what they like wanted my church. So he kind of mellowed me down, you know, being like how to sing in a group. Then from there to Jonathan, which just took it to another whole level. And I used to remember, I used to always say, I hope I'm standing next to Joy or Leslie. Because I can stand between both of them, and you're like, well, everybody not singing, but I really am singing. But I love to blend with them too. Even if I sing tenor, I was like, oh yes, please let me stand next to one of them so I can make my tenor match their alto.
Right.
Tone. Oh, I used to love it. It became a game to me, you know. And then I decided to get married and have kids and marry a musician. So, you know, it's sporadic now.
No, you only make appearances now. It's okay.
Because I kept having kids every time something popped up. Oh, she's pregnant again. Oh, she's pregnant again. So I couldn't do much. But yeah,
you did one record while you was like 8 months pregnant, weren't you?
Yeah, London. Every recording I was pregnant. Every recording I was pregnant, and every release I just had it.
Wow. Wow. Cool. Joy, my sister. I don't remember when, but when did you start?
Okay. Hi. So yeah, I think I had my start with the Tots. That was the name of our children's choir at the Apostolic Church of Jesus Christ, where my grandfather was the bishop. I used to race to the mic before everybody else could get there. I would grab it because I wanted to lead whatever it was. My first lead was Tremaine Hawkins' "How I Got Over." Y'all remember that song? How I Got Over. I was like 3, hadn't gotten over anything, but that was my first lead. And then fast forward to, I guess, my teenage years, my grandfather passed when I was 10. So we started the Alfred Wallace Memorial Ensemble, which I think around that time, everybody's church had some kind of memorial ensemble going on. So I sang there for maybe a year or 2, and then my mom was the president of the choir, the older people.
Okay.
She brought in Arlene Forrest.
Yes.
She brought her in for reinforcement. And so she used to live near us. So my mother would go pick her up for rehearsals. So I would naturally have to sit in rehearsals. And I think I was about 12. And Sister Arlene called me up to the choir stand to sing with all these middle-aged people. At the time, I was singing soprano, I think. I was singing soprano. And so I think she had me leading Fully Committed. Yeah. So that was like my first real, like, well, I'm going to call it my first real one because I was old enough. You know, I was singing with old people, you know.
Right.
So that was like my real introduction. Like, you know, so I was singing with them. They had on their robes. I was too small for the robes. So I had to dress in like purple and white, you know, colors. But yeah, and then of course I get older. I think I started with Jonathan. I was like 18, I want to say. That
You
was
are kidding.
at the War Conference. Huh?
What?
Yeah, I was 18. I was 18 when we did the Karen Clark thing at War. We sang background for Karen Clark. I was like 18.
Wow.
Yes, I remember the teal blue suit with the buttons down the middle. Yeah. So yeah, then on, of course, Jonathan Nelson Purpose. But that was where I got my start. That's where I cut my teeth, I think.
Okay, cool. So let's jump right into the skill set. So I have this thing where I honestly believe that there's a difference between a session singer and a live singing BGV. So let me just start out by saying this. I believe that session singers have a different skill set. I used to say something different, but this is how I'm going to say it tonight. I believe that they have a different skill set. Singing live to me is more atmospheric, along with knowing what you're supposed to be singing and how you deliver the sound that's necessary. But session singing, to me, it's like you have to find that space whatever the aura of the song, the space of the song. And I learned that by in my former life, I used to lead all the time. I directed the choir, but I led all the time. So when it came time to get in the studio, that microphone and what you hear in your ears can make you kind of back off or diminish your sound because everything is amplified. And I don't know why we were all in this setting together, but I was at Darian's in one of Darian's sessions for his previous records, and Jonathan happened to be there, and I was trying to sing this lead part, and he knocked on the door and came in, and he was like, you have to find the space that you sing live in and bring it in here. Whatever that takes, whatever you do out there, you have to bring it in here and make it happen in here. I was like, I don't know how to do that. Well, I just kept at it, and he was like, no, do it again. I'm like, why are you even here? But like, what is, I tried to do it, and I got to that space. And then the more I did it, I learned how whatever atmosphere you learn that song in, or you sing it in outside, bring it in here. And then it progressed to producer communicating what he wanted, and then either creating the atmosphere or just finding it, because all producers don't engage well. We'll talk about that in a minute. So let's discuss like the skill set. Let's talk about live singing first, and what is your approach to mastering the sound of the live setting, especially recordings, not so much just one-offs, singing with people, but when you do live recordings, how do you approach creating that same sound that you do in your rehearsals, in your vocal rehearsals, and then when you get with the band, how you translate that same thing live? Anybody, just unmute and go.
I'll start.
Thank you.
So for me, I used to overthink a lot. It was hard. I was like, because I'm so used. So are we talking about from BGV standpoint?
Yes.
Yeah, right. So I used to overthink a lot because I'm so critical. Like when it comes to blending and making sure the sound is different, the space and everything. I used to be able to practice what I practiced at home, and then when it got to singing with the other people, it was like, it's not the same sound, it's not the same feel. But being able to really listen to what the person is singing with you is very important. Also, the energy and the connection. You're always painting a picture when you are singing, so you always want to make sure that the energy and the support of your sound is always high, because if not, you can bring the sound down quickly, you single-handedly. But to be honest, when I started singing with Dancing, he is a stickler about that, and he really, really, the way that he's able to help blend voices together was very crucial for me, and it helped me a lot, so that no matter which section you're singing in, you're able to blend with the person standing next to you.
Right.
So, because I'm always switching in between soprano, alto, tenor.
They be thinking you singing soprano, you be down that good tenor, baby.
Yes. So that was a big thing for me, learning how to really blend and keeping the energy, because low energy there's no need for it. If it is, it's gonna crash and burn quick.
It doesn't serve you well in the song.
That's not. especially in the studio.
Yeah. Okay, Kisha, I'm gonna make you talk tonight, sis. Unmute, Kisha.
I would say connecting with the ones around you, kind of to help your sound. Because sometimes it is different when you sing in a rehearsal compared to once the sound people come in, I don't know why it always seems like even though you do sound checks, it's still not the same sound.
Yep.
When you get up there to do.
Right.
So it's more like, I guess, trying to connect, and I make faces and stuff. So I would have to say, like, no, that could like mess somebody up. Like, I make faces like, you know, and then they can throw the next person off. They think they singing wrong, but it could really be I just can't hear. So I think a lot of your presentation too can affect your sound if you're not, you know, like, it's kind of like, I don't know, you gotta just put that face on.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Okay, we're really sucking, but we're gonna keep going until we like find our space.
Yeah.
So I think that, for me, that's the issue.
I remember when we did the Better Days record, we rehearsed like for 3 or 4 days in that small room, that small little office space. And then when we went to meet with the band, we got overwhelmed. Like, and y'all know me, when I'm in recording mode, I'm like this.
Yeah.
Mainly because I'm trying to pay attention to everything that's going on around me, so I know how the parts are moving, and that's just part of me. And I noticed it was a bit chaotic because we were trying to find our space in it, because the band was here, like gone, and we come in like, better days are here, like what is happening, like what's going on? And then that wonderful prayer that we had that stopped our rehearsal and made us go back to the hotel, go to sleep. But then the next piece after that was we got that streamlined. But then the night of the recording, when the people came in the room, it felt so weird. Like, who let these spirits in here? Like, what is going on? So you have to learn how to adjust to that and not be so reactionary with that kind of stuff. You pay attention, and sometimes you may have to bow your head and be like, Father God, in the name of Jesus, like, you know, to kind of get it right. But don't let it like distract you or deter you or increase your anxiety about what you're, you know, about to get, you know, what you're about to do. Brittney, what's your take on live singing?
For me, I know one thing that is extremely important is to make sure that you study the particular artist that you're working with. Every artist is different. What every artist expects from you is different. So, you know, I can't necessarily come in with my classical singing or my approach to classical singing,
right,
with vintage JJ songs. Like, it just don't work on Deliver. Like, it just don't work. Right. So I think it's very important to study the artist. I love what Candace said about the energy, bringing the energy into the room. I know a lot of times, and I've been guilty of it myself, of bringing my day into my sessions. I've been guilty of it. I've been very guilty of it. And it affects your energy. It affects your delivery. It affects you vocally. Like, everything is stressed. Everything is tied up. Everything is bound up, and you can't really release and do the job that you've been hired to do, because you brought your day into your workspace. But I think that's a whole another different topic. But that's something that I try to think ahead of when I'm in those types of settings, just making sure that I'm able to match and deliver what the artist is expecting of me, the job that I've been hired to do. And to make sure that, like Candace said, my energy is absolutely on top of it when I come in.
Yeah. Somebody type in the comments, I feel like a preacher now. Don't bring your day into your session, into your workspace.
I feel like a preacher now.
Oh my God. Like, that's real stuff though, because I've been well, y'all know my story. I was a mean girl for a while. I don't even know why, but she not mean no more. She nice now. But I just used to, like, whatever I was carrying on me, I would just come and be like, hey. Are we singing or what? Like, you know, just because of this, you know, that space. Let me get Joy back in here. And that space, you know, that I was in, you know, just trying to work that out before I get there, because I don't want it to affect the session in a negative way. I don't want it to affect anybody else in a negative way, because what I've learned about myself, and maybe you guys can attest to this, that I have a very strong energy, so I'm an atmosphere changer. So if I walk in a room and everybody's laughing and I walk in and my heaviness comes, somebody may stop laughing or be like, what's wrong with her? And it could really change the dynamic of the work session, live or in studio. It can really do that. So that's a thing. BGVs, y'all have to understand, it's not just about your voice alone. It's more than your talent. You bring, and I'm telling you what I've learned, and these ladies can tell you the evolution of Leslie. It's like you have to learn what your strengths are, and that's what you bring. And if it's something that you're not doing right, just fix it. If somebody tells it to you, just graciously say, okay, go home and process it. And then for your next session, because what you want is a callback. That's what you want. You want somebody to call you back and say, yeah, can you do this for me again? Because the personality is what people like working with, in addition to the voice. I'm telling you, I learned the hard way. Okay. Joy, let me get your take on it.
So I was going to talk a little, I may be jumping ahead, I'm not sure. I was going to approach it from, can you hear me?
Yeah, you can. Go ahead.
Okay. I was going to talk about it from the creative aspect. So, like you said, you are a leader. You are a leader. So when you get into these sessions and you are to be the background person, one of the things that I would say is knowing your role in a session. See, a wise person once told me, be an alto. Be an alto. There are times when during the creative process, your input may be warranted. They may say, how do you guys feel about, if we switch this up, if we add a little something here, and that's fine during the creative process. But if you're hired as a session singer, be a session singer. And that's it. That's it. Really. And it's hard.
Who told you that?
It don't even matter. It was good advice. It was some of the best advice I've ever been given as a singer, period. Because it's a very fine line. When you're creative, sometimes you itch to make changes when you're in session. Oh my God, why are we doing this? Like, why can't we? We could probably, if we did, but when you're hired as a session singer, be a session singer. That's it. That's what you're hired for. Like you want the call back. I didn't hire a vocal producer. When you're hired to be a vocal producer, that's some of the stuff that comes with that role. Then you can alter and you can let's rearrange this. Let's put this here, put that there. So that's one of the biggest. I'm gonna get a T-shirt made. Be an alto.
What's your cap at? What's your cap at, Joy?
Joy's Noise, the number 4, KIDZ.
This is an offering.
Singer, really. Yeah, just be a session singer. And be okay being a session singer. Especially when you want that call back.
Yeah.
You never I would hate to be so creative and have the best of intentions in sessions, and then my name come up as referral for something else, and they like, no.
Taking over.
Know your role, do what you're hired to do, and go on. That's it. That's all. I'm muting my mic.
Can I tap on this?
Yes, please. Yes.
Can I tap on this?
Yes.
Okay. So be a session singer, and Joy, this thing was so good. Like, knowing your role is so important. Like, you can't walk in being your nice, wonderful self, who you are as an artist, on the front of your CD. It's so nice and wonderful. But when you've been hired to be a singer for this particular gig, please know how to take your artist hat off and be a background singer. I've sold CDs. I've cleaned up. I've done a whole lot of stuff. Sold CDs, helps find autographs, help get people water, help clean. I've gotten on my hands and knees and help people tie their shoes, put their jewelry on, put press on nails on. I've done a whole lot of stuff. You have to do what you've been hired to be. If you haven't been hired in the area of being an artist tonight, and you a foot washer, be the best foot washer they got on their program at night. But I think sometimes we get a little bit we get one single and we get one single, we get one single release concert, we get one CD, and now we too big to do anything else. Like that's another thing. When if you're gonna be a BGV and you're gonna be a strong BGV, you gotta put sit your ego out the door. I wish I would walk into a JJ section as Brittney Wright. You know what I'm saying? When I go to work for JJ, or if I go to help Jonathan do something or whatever, I'm a background singer. They don't care. Them people don't know who I am. But I've come to do a job. Like I've come to sing my alto. Tenor. That's as far as it goes for me. Sing whatever section I'm being asked to sing in or work in whatever role I'm being asked to work in for the night. And then the next day, if I get a call back to come in, like Joy said, instead of being an artist or a background singer, the next time I get called to be the vocal producer. The next time I come to be the mix engineer, because don't be fooled. Some of us know how to work new window.
Come on,
okay. But you just y'all gotta know. Oh my gosh. And it comes with time, because you have trial and error. Hello, Brittney. You have trial and error, but you just gotta know how to serve. Yeah, whoever said that, in order to lead first, you gotta know how to serve and do it with pride. I love singing background. Yeah. I don't like doing the studio. It's not my favorite thing. I've literally grown to love it, but I love serving. That's something that I've grown to love. You know what I mean? Love to be a help.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I'm done. I'm sorry. Excuse me.
Anybody else have anything to add? Okay, so let's jump into the session singing. To me, that's unique because you have to be in love with creating the sound. I was thinking, excuse me, I was thinking earlier about the last session we did with the Jonathan Nelson's and Purpose reunion record that's about to come out. And the song that we learned on the spot, y'all, what's the name of the song?
Thank you, Lord.
Thank you, Lord. Right? So that so all I have, that everybody can't hit that the very first time that they try to do it, except for Purpose. And I'm not being egotistical. I'm just saying we've been trained enough, and we are part of the Purpose, Jonathan Nelson, the Purpose sound, that we just know where to go in those placements. But that sound is a rounded sound. It's your mouth is open, your vowel is clear on that, and then it is strong, it's pronounced. When you get with different producers, or you sing for different artists, as Brittney said earlier, you really have to kind of study them or know them before you get to the session, so that you are aware of what the expectation is. And if they send you a reference beforehand, it's extremely important to walk in this session knowing at least what they've sent you. If they change it, that's their dime. But you have walked in already prepared to assist with producing this sound that they want. So I listen to, like, Donnie McClurkin's BGVs are so distinct. They are so distinct. And it would be terrible for him to come to an area, you be pulled as a BGV, and you have not learned how to achieve that sound. It takes practice. You have to use your ears. So in the studio, you have to listen to what's going on. Hopefully there's good engagement, what we'll talk about, between the producers, so they're communicating to you exactly what they want. Sometimes the producer or vocal producer is able to show you, to physically sing to you what they want. What helps you be a good session singer is to hear it and give it back just like it was given to you. Everybody can't do that. They just can't. So your ear, and I know I have relative pitch. Terry Brewer says if I sat down on the piano, I would figure it out. But I don't think it's perfect. Joy has perfect pitch. Candace, do you have perfect pitch?
Relative.
Joy, you have perfect pitch.
Candace, I don't believe that.
Relative.
Huh? You don't believe what, Brittney? You don't believe what, Brittney?
That Candace has relative pitch. I think
I won't say it, but okay.
I'm serious. It's relative. If I keep practicing, I will have.
Like it's close to perfect. I just can't. Like my son will walk around. I'll be like, Cameron, what is this? And I'll sing a note, and he'll say, "Oh, E something." And I'm like, make me sick. Like, how do you just do that? But Joy's the same way. But that helps in a session to be able to at least hear something and give it right back. But not only give it right back, give it back as many times as the producer is asking you to give it back. I know of some highly acclaimed professional producers who require 27 stacks of a thing. Because eventually in there, one of them or two of them or five of them are going to work. That's his minimum requirement. I would be exhausted. But, those are the kind of things that you have to work with. So definitely having a great ear is important, and the ability to reproduce the sound that's asked of you. Share any tips that you guys have.
I was going to say that though, Leslie, stamina, because you might be at this for a minute and you think it was good. One person I love, I might be jumping ahead a little bit, Kenny. And he's so sweet about it. No, I'll do it again. Wasn't good. And I'm like, that sounds good to me. Sorry. It was one of them.
So sweet.
I mean, but I mean, over and over and over. You have to have the stamina to be, and you have to be versatile. You have to be versatile. It can't, I know when we would do them, how we would go out the room and let one section sing. I would literally think of what the alto part was, because sometimes they want a thickness, and the way you get that good blend is if you can have somebody that can sing more than one part.
Right.
Because you put them in two spots, to make the blend. So I would listen. And Leslie, I love Leslie to death, but sessions, I hated them with her because she was out to the grouch. Look, I'm here to work. My feet hurt. We ain't got time to don't be in the hallway singing another song that has nothing to do with what we're here for. Because Leslie's going to let everybody know. I mean, it wasn't me. I don't say nothing. I sit right in that corner and let everybody laugh because I don't want to get left. But
I'm not that person anymore.
You have to have stamina, and you have to be versatile. You have to be.
I'm not that person anymore. I just let people crash and burn.
Like professionalism. Professionalism. Okay, all right. Yeah.
Anybody else?
I just want to reiterate the point you made. Can you hear me? I'm sorry. Go, Britt.
No. Go, Joy.
Go ahead, Joy.
I was just going to reiterate the point that you.
Can you hear me? I'm sorry.
Yeah. We got you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I want to reiterate the point that you made about knowing the music before you come in the door is very important. And a lot of times when we get music references for sessions, you're getting a number in most instances, you're preparing like a number of songs. And I have been got a few times where, you know, I've received music, and when I say got, it was my own fault, meaning I didn't really study as thoroughly as I should. Sometimes we take for granted, oh, when we get in a session, we'll get out there. It is crazy. You stuck because you didn't put the work in to study. I think it's very, very important, and when we get hired for these sessions, that we're really putting our ears to the music. I'm the type of person that's by cramming. That's not a good habit, but that's how I learn music. I learn it's very crazy. It sticks with me when I cram it a day to 2 days before a session. Always the best thing. That's how I do my schoolwork. That's how I cram. That's me. That's full transparency. Sitting with music, then learning to sit with music days in advance to like really make it a part of you. That helps when it's time to when it's time to sing it back. Yeah, I just learning, making sure that you know the ins and outs. And like you said, they switch up it, in the session, then that's one thing. But just knowing the foundation, like knowing what it is before you walk in the door.
Yeah,
it's very important.
I like to. I'll cram, like if I'm doing multiple projects, I'll cram. But if it's something like the last concert that Soulful did, when y'all were reading in them books, and I was looking at that book like, I don't know nothing that's on this paper right here. Like, I don't know nothing. I was like, Candace, you got like, I don't know what this is. I made a voice memo the whole rehearsal. And I would get up at 5:00 in the morning, have that book open on the bed and that voice memo going, and like committing to memory where we were on the page, because I still couldn't read it, but like, because I wanted it and I wanted to be correct in the moment. So for those kind of things, I take special time. Just put it in my ears all day long. I ain't even paying not really focused on it, but it's in my ears. So it's getting in my brain. So when I hear it again, when I start like, when it gets to the point that I'm just humming it without it even being in my ears, that's when I know, it's kind of gotten in here. That's when it's real, real good. Britt, go ahead. Candace will come back, I'm sure.
So all I was going to say is that for me, session singing is thinking singing for me, because with session singing, you have to be 2 steps ahead of whatever is coming next. You have to know, what you're singing on this particular word or this particular vowel in order to make sure that your approach to the next word or the next vowel is going to be, what is needed in the session. So for me in sessions, I'm always, if anybody's ever done a session with me, I have no problem with looking ugly. I have no problem with lifting up my eyebrows, lifting up my hands, standing on my tiptoes, leaning over on this side in order to get whatever I need, because they can't see me when they listening back, but I'm going to get this sound that's needed. If it's straight tones, if it's a lot of vibrato, if it's big, if it's super soft, you're going to get whatever it is. If it, if I'm flat, let me get myself together. Hold on, wait, let me sing through it a couple of times. Let me get myself together.
Right.
And or, which I'm pretty sure we'll touch on too, in session singing, I was better at this when I was in college, but session singing, especially, I don't do it as much with live singing and I probably should, but session singing, I warm up. Like, it's like literally no way around it. Not only do I warm up, but I'm awake at least 2 to 3 hours before my session, at least.
Right.
My session. And that says a lot because I like sleep. I love to sleep. But at least 2 to 3, maybe 4 hours before my session, I'm up. Even if that's me up cleaning up, even if that's me drinking, water, Actually, the week before, if I know I have a big session, I'm only drinking water.
Please talk about not waiting until you get to the session to begin to hydrate. When do you begin to hydrate?
Well, I mean, I honestly, all I drink is water, to be very honest with you, water and coffee. And although coffee is not good for my acid reflux at all, these days, all I drink is water. Like, that's it. So many things strip you vocally. And I think that a lot of times we take for granted a lot of things that strip us, but citrus, peppermints, tea, caffeine, red meat, like a lot of that stuff affect us as singers. And I think a lot of times in our culture, we just accept a lot of things. Like a lot of stuff is just like, look, if I want this today, I'm going to have this today.
Right.
But certain things, like I know for me, seafood strips me. So 3 days before I have to sing, I cannot have it.
Wow.
It's been that way at least the past, I already tell my age, but it's been that way for at least the past almost 20 years for me.
Wow.
That before I sing, at least 3 days before, I can't have seafood because I don't know what it is, if it's the shellfish or the blend of spices or whatever, but it don't work for me. So that's how y'all know for real. I'm not from Baltimore. Y'all court that Old Bay and stuff. I can't do it. But
I've never heard that.
It's I don't know what bothers me with it, but it's definitely me. I'm stripped almost immediately. But I still don't do, some people do lemon in their water. I can't. I don't do peppermint before I sing. I don't do chocolate before I sing. I don't do red meat before I sing. I don't do cheese. It's a lot. Like, but if you start to kind of prep yourself with like restricting those things a week, maybe 2 weeks before you have to sing something big, like you'll literally notice a big difference.
Okay. That's cool. Wow, that seafood, that's a big one. Never heard that before. Wow. Okay. So I think everybody touched on that. So and we talked to
I'm gonna say something really quick.
Yeah, go ahead. Go.
So I wanted to piggyback off of knowing the music also. It's especially for me, I am one of those people that I have to approach things differently because I'm always coming from a classical standpoint. Gospel, I love gospel, but it takes me a little bit more time to figure out where I'm going to place certain things.
Not down in that alto.
Not in the alto, but in the
that good gospel alto, baby.
Not in the alto, but in the soprano for sure. Because I sometimes have the tendency to be so it's gonna come out, sorry, but not so, so I have to sometimes ahead of time be thinking and placing in my voice where it's going to go, how I'm going to approach it, how is it going to connect, so that when I get to the mic, I'm able to repetitively get that thing going so that, it can come out the right way. So, because I do not like going, oh, do that again, oh, do that. I loathe that. I'm one of those, I'm going to hit it and quit it. So,
right.
If I don't, I get annoyed quick. But I used to. I'm getting better.
Comes with time, honey.
It's always good to warm up ahead of time. Now, for me, I used to be one of those people that I wake up and I'm good. I wake up singing. No warm up or nothing. But the older you get, things change. So, and also what you, like Brittney said, what you eat is imperative. There are some things, if you feel some things going on in your vocal cords, there are some things that you can do and take. Always make sure that you are stretching. When you're not stretching, you can hurt some things going on in your cord. It's imperative.
I used to always know when I was lead singing, when I was hitting them notes either just right. I don't think it was wrong because it felt right and it sounded right. It would be this muscle in my back somewhere. that thing would turn on me, and I would just be singing, and it's like, oh, stop, sis, for you pass out up here.
Exactly.
It's like, but I wasn't stretching at that time. I didn't know anything about how important your physical body is to producing sound. You use your whole body when you sing if you're doing it right.
Yes, you can.
So that stretching is really important.
You can lock up your sound by not stretching.
Wow, somebody typed that today. You can lock up your sound by not stretching. Yes,
it's important. And also, when it comes to females, knowing your body is very important, especially during having kids, being pregnant while singing. That's very important to continue to sing, continue to get them things moving, because you are, you have life forming in your body, and everything is rearranging itself. It's imperative that you keep practicing. If you don't, you can lose range. You can lose a lot of different things in your voice. So it's important, even when it comes down to ministration, knowing how to practice when you're on your cycle. Things change. Things change. You have to be very cautious about that as well. And a little tip that I've always used: warm pineapple and cayenne pepper is something that
I've heard about that.
Baby, ever since I heard about it, I said, oh, okay. It's a totally different sound. Like if right before you sing you feel cloggy or things just don't feel the same, and you drink some of that, snap everything back into. It's like Superwoman. Like, oh, I'm here now. Okay. So natural remedies are really good. Always move your body.
Okay, good. So I have a little story. Joy and I were the altos for Capria McLaren's single that's out. And Brandon Macklin is hilarious because he's like, we literally like took everything else out and just listened to y'all. Like, is this for real? Like, what is happening in there? But I'm gonna tell you, and Joy can tell you her side if she chooses. I couldn't hear her. We were standing in front of each other. So she was on one side of the room and I was here. And I couldn't hear her. I couldn't hear her in the mix. But I'm a little older. Let me put that there. So I learned how to sing without monitors, without headphones, without microphones in your face. I learned how to listen to the room, to find the sound in the room. So when we're singing together, often Joy will say, I'm trying to find you, sis. I'm trying to find you. And then there'll be times where I know I need to get where she is, and I'll just listen to find out where my tonation needs to be, where my vowel placement needs to be, when we're trailing off, or when we're holding, straight, when there's a little vibrato, when there's a lot. So I had to listen to the room to find her. And honestly, there were other people in the room, the other voices, they were talking amongst themselves, and are you doing this and are you doing that? And the person was like, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Me and Joy said nothing to each other the whole session. I think she may have asked me one time, Lay, you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. But we don't, it was the nonverbal communication that we have as vocalists that we just pay attention or try to find it. Because I can listen to a room and hear what's doing what and match that. I don't even think I'm really necessarily a singer. I think I'm somebody who can just mimic sound very well, which is an amazing trait to have as a session singer, because it helps you reproduce the same thing over and over and over again. So, Joy, I was just explaining how we telework, how we telecommunicate when we are in sessions. I mean, if you want to talk about that, you can, but I already said my speech about it. You there, sis? Did you unmute? Okay. We want to let sis figure that out. Okay. Let me see. So, like, how do you? Well, I think we probably. Okay, there she is.
I got
What, girl?
I'm sorry, y'all. Listen, I did a run today. I had been posted in my car. I had not made it home yet. I'm so sorry. So I'm not sure what Leslie told y'all, but I think with us, it just I don't know, it just happens. It's so weird. Like we've been in sessions. I don't know if anybody can identify with this. Like if you've been in session and you sing so closely with somebody that when you're singing with them, you can't tell if it's you or if it's her or him. That's like kind of what it is. It's almost scary sometimes. Like listening, like, am I singing? It kind of feels like that to me sometimes. But I think that comes with just like we've sang together for so long.
Yeah.
And I kind of pride myself on trying to blend with, like I tell Leslie, okay, I gotta find, we're in a session, maybe it's not a perfect session, maybe we're singing together in another like environment for another artist. I do the thing where I say, okay, I'm gonna find you in a minute. I'm gonna find you. You know, so like if any time has lapsed since we sang together, it could be months, it could be a couple of years. When we finally get together, it's like, okay, you keep on. Come on, I'll find you.
Because
I
have a takeover spirit.
I go to look for her. I feel like then, which is fine. Everybody has anchor. Like there are vocalists out there who are just anchors. Like they're the ones who lead the reference first on the reference. They're the first people to lay the reference, and then you stack on top. Like I'm not ashamed to say that. Leslie is that for me. She's like the reference. Okay. Oh, that's what I'm supposed to be. Okay, cool. All right, I got it. Cool. Yeah. But it's always fun. That's years of singing together.
Yeah. That
I'm
is.
muting my mic.
Go back to mute, girl. But yeah, that's kind of thing. I have this phrase that also belongs to me. So when I say it, send me my ties because it's mine if you use it. I call it wicked singing. And that's, to me, that's when you can insert yourself with a group of singers and somehow make all of them come into the sound that you're producing. It's a thing. It's really a thing. I don't know if you all ever experienced that, but if you put me in a section and I have a great idea of what needs to happen, we're going to make it happen. And I'm not even going to have to tell you. You're just going to come to where I am. Now, either you come up to where I am or you might just trail off. I don't know. And I'm not being like pompous about it, but it's a thing. Like I can literally feel my body doing that, like pulling people's voices into the sound that I'm producing. Anybody else experience that?
Yes. Recently I did two, what was last year, but I sang in a small ensemble background for Josh Groban. And now this is a whole different field, you know, but still singing background. Josh Groban and Sarah Brightman, two, you know, great singers, with different sound, different, you know, working with different races is can be different, very different. And so, and I sang alto that time, so I was able to really do what I wanted to do, and so I could hear the sound change from when I first started to the end of the learning one specific sound song, and the producer would, you know, picked me out and said, sing this again, and then had the people around me sing. So that's important. Making sure that your sound can convey the message and also bring other people together to gel a perfect sound.
Absolutely. Anybody else? Brittney, I'm sure you've done it, because let me tell you what I've heard about you, Brittney. What I've heard about you is that producers may not always want to bring you in first to lay backgrounds, because it's difficult for the people who come in after you to even match you, because you color whatever you're doing is color me Brittney, like once it's done. Would you say that's true of you, Britt? I would say yes.
I'm gonna say no. No, it depends. It depends on the session. It depends on who. It depends on what artist I'm working with. Sometimes I'm the anchor singer, and then sometimes I come in after because when I was little, they used to call me like tape recorder, because I would try to mimic thing that I heard. So if my dad was singing, I wanted to match how he was singing with his growl, like when he was hooping, when he preaching. I'm watching, Dorinda Clark, I want to get that, like, I want to get that whatever she's doing, or I just tried to mimic whoever I was singing with. So I enjoy singing with other singers, especially singers I've never sang with before, because it creates a challenge. Mm-hmm. Because you have to find no, sing it again. Okay, sing it one more time. Okay, I got it. Or in a session with a producer, like, okay, play it. Okay, play it one more time. Okay, I think I got it. Okay, I got it. I got it on this pass. So I think it just depends. But I like matching other singers. But I think it again depends on the producer.
That's what I heard, though. Word on the street. Okay.
I think that's foolish.
It's not foolish. Like, seriously, if you went in the studio and laid background and they said, Leslie, come on, I need you to stack on top of Brittney now, I'm up for a challenge. But my God, I would be like,
no, I think that's dumb. I think that's so dumb, Leslie. I think that's so foolish.
But Leslie, Brittney, when you did the lead for Kim Burrell for Brand New, and that wasn't even background. That was lead.
Let's talk about that.
I'm trying to figure out who this
Jonathan.
Let's talk about that. Yeah, I'm gonna pop my bra strap on this one right here. We were at Kenny's house, and we had done a reference for I guess a few of the songs, and Britt came and he wanted you to do the reference for Kim, and I was like, oh, she got this. And I sat there, and you was pacing yourself through it, and Jonathan came over, and he was like, do this, and I sang something, and he was like, yeah, that, and then he turned around and walked away and left you and I sitting there, and you were singing, and I was like, do this, and like you bodied that reference. I was like, yo, I felt like
thing in my life.
5 minutes.
Have something sent to Kim Burrell and have something sent to Dorinda Clark. Like, no, just sing it.
Just sing it.
In my life.
Because they're going to follow you.
And they did.
And they did. Literally.
Kim was like, wait, let me
lies. These lies that are coming through.
There are 2 witnesses right here. No.
I'm telling you. Dorinda couldn't get the words, but with Kim,
Kisha.
Kisha. Dude.
But Jonathan is worthy, so
right. Let's move on from that. All right, so we wrapping it up, guys. So just hang in there with us for a few minutes. So your business practices. Now, I've had the awesome opportunity one time to hire Brittney Wright to do something. One time, one time, you probably don't even remember. One time,
and I remember the artist, and I remember how many times we came in and did other songs. We got calls back. I remember that.
right. So when I came in the door, there were two things that I had for them. I had a work for hire form, and I had their money before we sang a note. This is what I had for them. Work for hire form and cash money. I think I gave y'all cash money. I think I did give y'all cash money. And
Yes.
what I told the producer, the artist was, I said, there are going to be two people in this group that I know about that if you want more from them, one person was a vocal producer, and I was almost certain he was going to ask you to feature on something. I said, what you need to do is, you've already handled the BGV part. I said, but even though this is on my watch, I give you the access to talk to them about what additional you want from them. You will negotiate their rate. It had nothing to do with me. I took myself out of it and have at it. A couple days later, Brittney was featuring. I still to this day and don't want to know how much she paid her. That's between them. She got her money. She did what she was supposed to do and got out. The other person, they vocal produced. They got their money and they got out. So I like for all of the business to be above board. Nobody having any questions or wondering, because I've been burnt more times than enough. I would have just rather you just ask me to do it for free instead of taking me around Robin Hood's bone. Yeah. Yeah, I just would rather you do that. So what are some of the things that you guys either would like to see happen or demand? Because honestly, I'm on a quest personally for any artist that comes to the DMV is going to have to be prepared to use our singers under contract, because all of you guys are independent contractors, and to me, contracts just make the business easier with the terms laid out. Have your own work for hire in your phone, in your iPad. Heck, have a piece of paper in your pocketbook that's a work for hire form, or if you're in a writing session, a split sheet. Like, carry those things with you so that the business is always done right. If in the gospel world, we want to be professional, but we don't want to do the professional things that make us professionals. Because when you go a little higher, or let's say if you go into the secular arena, you will be caught off guard if you don't know what a work for hire form is. You will just be caught off guard. So what are some of the business practices that you guys like to work with? Go ahead.
I'm gonna need the paperwork ahead of time. That's it. It helps me navigate through things so much easier. I come in ready to work, knowing that everything is going to be handed to me ahead of time. So I don't think that is it coming through weird?
I think it. Can you mute? Can somebody unmute? Yeah, it's coming through a little weird. It's a little choppy. Candace?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. What I don't enjoy, what was I about to say?
You were talking about getting the paperwork early.
Yes. So so I had an instance one time where I sang for a big event, and knowing that I was going to be paid after the performance. After the performance came, the money was not handed to me. The quickest way to get me upset is to mess with my money.
Okay.
And then the money was not ready until a week or so later, which was another thing. So you knew ahead of time that it was going to be one thing. And then when it got there, oh, by the way, please don't trick people. Please don't trick people, which is why it's important to have a contract. Because what you say it's going to debunk everything, because what we have here on writing is what you signed and what you agreed to. We can take this to a higher place if need be. But what you signed and what was you read is what you stand by. So, because when I do things in other areas, my money is handed to me before my mouth opens.
Absolutely.
So, for the gospel side, it would be nice that people would, ahead of time, just be upfront. Or if there's an issue, say that ahead of time.
Right.
Having to wait until after, and then, by the way, is late. It's late. It's rude. It's unprofessional.
That by the way.
By the way.
Or you have to look for them.
Oh,
this is not hide and go seek. I'm sorry.
You knew I was coming. You know I'm here. The concert's over. So yeah, that it can be really
challenging. Yeah,
challenging. I couldn't find the word, but yeah, it can be very challenging trying to negotiate all of that afterwards. Just be upfront.
Yeah, Brittney, I know you got a story behind this.
I mean, I think, yes, I've had more situations than I'd like to admit to that I've been a part of, or things I've sang for, things I've wrote for, things I've worked for. And when session was over, concert was over, all of a sudden that person was number changed, all kind of stuff. In all my years that I've been singing, I've been a part of a lot of stuff, but I agree with Candace. I think a conversation and paper just kind of fixes all of that. I think a lot of times, I hate saying in gospel, but I mean, I just want to say we will favor somebody to death.
Mm-hmm.
We will favor somebody to death, and we have got to come out of that, because favor don't pay Pepco, favor don't pay car notes, favor does not pay rent. Y'all love to see people shaking these units back and forth, but favor does not pay for units. Okay. It does not a unit cover. I just feel like we got to get out of that. Like, a lot of people who used to sing for me, Janelle, Cody, Ralph, Morgan, Ramon, Stefan, a lot of them can attest for my very first year as an artist. I didn't take any money home.
Wow.
If I got $100 for the gig, we went out to eat and we just spent the $100. If I got $500, I split it between them. Russell can attest the whole first year. And then I would call them and say, hey, y'all, I got a track date, or I accepted this as a track date because I don't feel comfortable giving y'all like $25 a piece. I'm just going to go and do the gig with a track. And they were like, oh, nah, like we coming. Like, we coming, because that's the type of relationship that we built.
Right.
But once I got to a point where I was like, no, I actually respect y'all way higher than giving you $25, $50 because I respect y'all gift this much. I'm going to take these tracks and I'm going to go and I'm going to do this gig for whatever amount of money that, whether I did, accepted the gig for myself or somebody for me. Now I got to go do it because, it's been accepted for. But I mean, I was upfront with my people.
Right.
I was upfront with my people, and if they was like, okay, cool, B, go on and take your tracks and make sure you put your phone on airplane mode, sis. We love you so much. I was perfectly all right with it because I was honest with my people. But when you're honest with your people, they don't mind doing stuff for you.
Yeah.
But I just feel like we just got to get out of taking advantage of people and saying, oh, I know such and such will do it. It's cool. I'll call her. I got it. You don't got to call her. You don't got to call such and such. I get her to come do this session. She'll come do these backgrounds real quick. She'll be done in like an hour. Like, we got to get out of the habit of that and paying people their worth.
Right.
Because when people go and they work for other people and you be like, dang, they call them all the time. I wonder why they called him and now she don't even answer my text. Well, because if I had $50, my $50 was their $50. Or if I had $10, my $10 was their $10. So when I get $1,000, hello,
right.
I'm paying these people what their worth is. Like, we literally just have to, as a genre, as people, we have to get out of the favor mechanism. If they can do it and you have the conversation, they can do it. But let's get out of these favors and let's stop ghosting people on their money.
Right.
Terrible. It's terrible. It's terrible. I've had gigs where I've emptied my account out before. It's empty, but people are paid.
Right.
It's in the negative, but people are paid, and don't let people that you're connected to do it either. Because that gets terrible too. Do what you gotta do. Do what you gotta do to make sure that it's taken care of. Okay, that's it. I'm done. We got to go on tangent, baby.
Kisha or Joy, y'all have anything to add?
Absolutely. I do accept gas money. I do. If you tell me that a gig is not paying and it's not, it's not top dollar, but I can look out for you for $25 for gas, I'll do it if you communicate that. I think the things that I've seen probably in the last couple years that seems to work is deposits. Send me my portion of the money, my half of the whatever the contract is beforehand. And then I don't mind waiting after service for the rest of it. I understand you have to pay your bills and you got to cover this and cover that, but when I have something in my hand prior to, that makes it a little bit sweeter. So I think that along with contracts, agreement, I think deposits are nice. Also, I think me personally, I've learned to consider the source, consider who you're working for. So if you have a reputation for communication and it's been positive and people don't have an issue with you, they're going to raise an offering. They may make you wait a little bit after service. If I know that going in, okay, cool. Consider the source. If you have a reputation where, and especially if I know ahead of time, where you have a reputation where people got to find you and, like you said, playing hide and go seek and all that craziness, 9 times out of 10, I need trustworthy because I'm going to show up to do the work.
Right.
If I'm for hire, if you call on me to do an engagement, a session, whatever the case is, I'm going to show up and do the work. Okay. So I don't want you to mail my money to me because I didn't mail my work in. I don't want you to, you know what I mean? Like, it's about communication. Communication is really what it all boils down to. If you tell me what it is up front, cool. Let me choose. Let me decide whether or not it's something to invest my time and energies in. Especially if I'm finna be cramming music, if I'm finna be cramming trying to learn whatever it is that you sending to me. If I take the time to learn the music, and then you come at me afterwards talking about I got paid or we'll send you a cash app payment later. I don't like stuff like that. Because 9 times out of 10, you knew that before you called me. You knew what it was before you called me. So don't play my face, okay? So yeah, I think deposits are good. Pay me half or whatever the case is. Let's make an arrangement. I'm good with that. And sometimes, honestly, in the church culture, I'll say the church culture, most Black churches, I don't know of a whole lot of contractual work. I honestly don't. I don't really see that much. We talk about it. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I haven't been on the receiving end, but I'm used to the gas money gigs. I'm used to and thank God, I'm one of the ones that have a 9 to 5. Now my friends who this is their livelihood, a big deal when you scheming people and you got people expecting payment. You done said one thing and you ain't kept up to your end of the bargain. I've heard story. That's not cool. God gonna get you. He's gonna get you. And just like we want callbacks, just like we want callbacks for these engagements and these sessions, you're gonna need people to sing for you too. So as a producer or as a promoter or whatever it is, if you don't handle people right, you're gonna have a hard time trying to call people to come do the stuff for you. So you gotta consider all of that. Just give my deposit.
Woo, sis! I wasn't expecting you to go off on that, but you're so right.
I totally agree with that, Joy. Because I work 9 to 5. So, but be upfront. Be upfront. Don't send me around. Thank God I ain't ran into a lot of those. You know, Florida, different type of.
Yeah. So we have a question, y'all. It says, "How do you do that?" Because they don't like to do the whole contract thing because it's called church.
Do the deposit, like Joy said. You know you got some, or say bye. Right, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, no.
Joy has taken me out of here because I don't even think I've heard her say that many words at once.
And she meant it from the bottom of her soul.
The hustle.
See how close she got to that camera?
I'm the voice of the people today. I'm the voice of the people who can't say it. I'm going to say it for them. Because I know personally of quite a few people who got burnt. I'm serious. Musicians, singers alike. I know a lot of people who got burnt because of, I'm going to pay you this. I think last week before last, one of my really good IG friends did a whole 2-hour rant where he got burnt out of some thousands of dollars. Like, it happens, and it's still happening. You can't be paying people money when it's their livelihood. You can't do that. Give the people their money. Send deposits. And if you don't want to do contracts, you at least be a man of your word. Other people's words. The words don't matter no more. You just lying to people. Anybody got time for that?
I like what Dominique said though. Contract, it's 2020.
They better than me.
Contracts are not, they're not foreign things anymore. If you're gonna sign a contract to get Karen Clark to come to your church, then you can sign a contract for me to come in and record these 8 songs. Like, we can get something in writing. Like, you can't, like, it's church. I get it, but I can guarantee you that there's, like, you didn't get this church off your word. You ain't get that car off your word. Like, come on, like, let's not act like contract. Like, we can read, it's fundamental. We can write something. It don't gotta be in the King's English. I mean, it don't gotta be in like hieroglyphics. It don't have to be nothing fancy, but just something that says, this is, this is the work that's going to be done. This is what I agree to. This is the payment that we're going to agree to. You're going to pay 50% up front, and then I'll get the other 50% at the completion of the completion of my services. Like, that's easy. That's 4 sentences. You sign, I sign. We can do a document sign it electronic. We can sign it in water. Whatever's convenient for you, we can make it work.
Right.
But it doesn't have to be nothing deep. But in the event that something comes up, I have something to cover me, and you got something to cover you.
Right.
Like, it don't got to be deep. This is definitely 2020, and if you need a contract, Google is available.
It is.
And one other thing, be okay with not accepting things. Know your worth.
No is a complete sentence.
Know your worth. Let me tell you, because people will use you until they can't use you no more. They'll know you'll take the $25, especially if it's your livelihood. That $25 is okay. $25. You don't work. Some people don't drive. You're gonna use that getting yourself from here to there. That's one thing. $25, whatever the amount is, just make sure that it's you just got to make sure that communication is there. and be okay with not taking a gig. God will supply your every need.
Yes, he will. Yes, he will. Yes, ma'am. Okay, I did say I was going to talk. I didn't talk about the producer vocalist engagement. That's going to be the last thing we talk about. So my idea of that phrase is there are some producers who communicate very well. They're able to either sing or articulate or play a feeling and emotion that needs to come through in a song. There are also producers who don't do so well at that. I worked with a world-renowned songwriter in the studio once, and I kept trying to figure out. I've sang on other projects of his, so as far as what I delivered, it was spot on because I know the sound. But the rest of the singers in there with me, I don't think had ever worked with him before, so they weren't quite sure. They were delivering it as best they could, but he just wasn't satisfied. And he texted me and he was like, can you get them to give me what I want? And I text back, that's not what you hired me for. Because he didn't. I wasn't there in that capacity. My check was one rate. So I laughed about it, but it dawned on me he was having trouble articulating what he wanted. So one of my purpose family was in there with me, who tossed it around a couple times and kind of just said, this is what I'm going to give you and you're going to take it. But it was spot on. It was perfect, right? The soprano struggled a little bit. I got the altos, in that space. And the session kind of ran longer, which was his dime. But it wasn't because of us. It was because of his articulation and trying to get this, whatever this was he was trying to get. And then there are some producers or vocal producers, and I'm going to keep referring to Jonathan because that's where the breadth of my experience has been, who can sing you your part. He can even tell you how to phrase, where to place your tongue, how to, breathe a certain way before this to give you a certain thing, to the point where now it's like, you know what I want, just give it, and you just do it. So there are two kinds of producers out there. Have you guys ever worked with someone, and how do you navigate a producer who may or may not be able to articulate? How do you sweetly and nicely give them what they want? Brittney, you look like you got something to say about that.
I mean, I ask a lot of questions, and it might get annoying to a producer who is not also a vocal producer. But I'm going to keep asking you because I need you to articulate as best as you can what it is that you want from me, because not only is your name going out on this product, but my name and my brand is going out on this product as well. So if you can't sing and you can't play, I need you to articulate as best as you can. Or if you can't articulate it, play me something that's close to what it is that you need, because it's gonna be, and it has been, very frustrating sessions going in with a producer who's a musician and not a producer who knows vocals, because there's a difference. And it's frustrating, but I'm gonna ask questions until we get it right, because I again want to make sure that I'm delivering what's being asked of me. But we not gonna be the blind leading the blind in this session. Like, we gonna figure it out before I leave the session. Like, do you want churchy? Do you want brandy feel? Do you want I don't know, you want jazz? Like, what do you want? Like, give me, like, if you could think of one color in the rainbow, like, what with this song, what does that color mean to you? How does it make you feel? Like, ask a lot of questions. Like, tell me what the overall vibe of the song is. Like, what'd you have in mind when you were making this track? Cool, that's the vibe. Okay, cool. You had Corinne Hawthorne, Unstoppable. I don't know why I said that. I've never listened to that song. But it gives me an idea of this is what you had in mind. So you're not irritated, and my other personality is not coming out in this session. I'm not in here for 4 hours because I'm trying to read your mind because you don't know how to articulate what you want, nor did you hire someone to come in and articulate what it is that you need for this particular track. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's good. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. Kisha.
I wanted to ask a question.
Oh,
because I've been in instances when they call you and do something, but they don't even know what they want. They like, just give me what you got. But I don't know what you want me to give you. And then we do it and they like, that's it. But I don't know what that was. And I get nervous because I don't want you to say I did it. I'll be like, put Natasha, say my name, Natasha. And don't put who I really am because it's confusing. But I know a lot of people who do that say, all right, you sing, come in and do it. This the music. These the words, do it. But it's not, and I agree with Brittney, you have to ask questions. But when it gets to the point to where they can't, and now what I'll do when certain people, I'll see because Florida, everybody kind of knows everybody who sings here. So I'll ask who else singing. And I'll find that when it has that connection with the person, all right, can you find out what we want? Because, it's almost like having a translator there. But I need to know who in this circle knows this person enough. I mean, because at the end of the day, I feel bad because you wasting money. That's because you could have paid me more. Shoot. For that,
Yeah,
This
right.
is when you are no longer an alto. This is called your position has now changed. Because now we're going into creativity. This is vocal production. That's a totally different fee.
That's a different check.
That's a totally different fee. Yeah, this is when I'm not an alto. It's okay to use creative direction, and you're calling me in now. Now I'm arranging a song. That's what I'm doing. I'm no longer an alto.
And it's already a problem because the song. What is that song gonna be all the way right? I took somebody else's song and just changed the.
I know some BGVs who get called to sessions and they're asked for their input and they go ahead and give it. And I'm confused as to why you even go ahead and give it because you have not yet negotiated your rate change. Don't get so caught up in the moment that you don't pay attention to what's happening because these people is slick.
And then won't give you no credit.
That part. Okay.
I ain't get my coin, my worth, or my credit. You done took all of them.
All of them.
Don't rape me fully dressed.
I'll be an alto till I die. An alto. What you send me, whatever references you send me, if you're unsure, we're both unsure. And I'm going to sing just as unsure as I possibly can. I'm going to give you what you give me.
Y'all are really hitting buttons with joy tonight.
I'm going to sing it. Listen, I'm telling y'all, that being alto, literally, that thing set me free. I'm trying to tell you. And sometimes I'll go into spaces and I literally have to catch myself. Like, because the creative side of me is like, we could probably, nope. I'm going to sing alto. That's what I was brought in to do. I'm going to sing alto. That's not for me to concern myself with. If you haven't figured this out before I got here, how this is supposed to go, I can't help it. I'm going to sing what was given to me. I'm going to sing it how God gave it to me.
Yo, this is so hard. She talking so good, but y'all, I promise you, I haven't heard Joy talk this much all year. Like, oh my God. Get your business right before you call Joy.
I'm retreating. I'm going back to go mind my business after this call is over.
Okay, well, ladies, we have spent an hour and a half talking, and it looks like from the responses, people have enjoyed what we said tonight. The only other thing I want to encourage you working BGVs who have recorded with artists, you need to go and check to see if you have unclaimed royalties out there. I did not know until someone told me that they saw my name on this list, and I'm glad that they told me, because I had a nice little piece of money out there, my first check. Now, your subsequent checks could be a little less, but that was a few years accumulated because they couldn't find me. They could not locate me. They had my previous address. So it may take you going through, sending your ID, a copy of your ID to prove who you are, and your address and contact information and things like that. But it's well worth it, because I think I started getting my royalties usually around May or June. Once a year, I get a nice little check from them. And last year I got a check in September, and I called them. I was like, what is this for? And they was like, oh, this is from the German side of such and such and such. Thank you very much. So those things are out there, as well as Sound Exchange. I'm still in the process of getting approved for Sound Exchange. And what I was told is it takes a little longer to track BGVs, because you got artists, and then you got songwriters, and you got these people. So we're kind of low on the pecking order with that. But there are people who were approved, got into Sound Exchange, and they have, if it comes up that you don't have any royalties recorded, you can ask them to dig a little deeper, or go back and get these liner notes. Get these liner notes from these CDs and scan them. Keep those copies somewhere electronically so you can always have access to them. So, to prove who you are. Don't miss no money that's owed to you for your work, because you are important as a BGV as well. Okay. Anybody have any final notes before we wrap up? Okay, so I guess we don't. Thank you, ladies, so much, and thank you for everyone who has watched this tonight. I am going to review it to make sure it's okay, and then I'll post it up again for you guys to come back and check it out. Please share it and have everyone that's interested in coming back. Now, what I am going to announce is that next Tuesday, I'm coming back with the guys, the tenors of the group. I'm not going to tell you who they are, but just stay close to my social media, and I will be posting the information soon, okay? Thank y'all so much. My son, I love my son. He supports his mama with everything. I love you, Cam, so much. Thank you, ladies. We're going to get off of here for now, and I'll talk to you all later. Bye.